Clear.
Rocking and rolling. Alright. I just passed my instrument check ride about 30 minutes ago. Unbelievable. So I just filed my first IFR flight plan, and we're going to go direct to Anoka from Cloquet Airport because I'm dropping my plane off there to get an engine monitoring system and a Tannis engine heating system installed. So,
76 Bravo, yep.
I got my instrument rating and now I can't fly for like 2 weeks.
How are the
But man, what a relief. But I found my flight plan. I'm going to call up clearance delivery.
Roger that, thank you.
So I can get in the air, and then on my way home I'll be kind of doing a recap of what happened in the check ride. Clearance delivery, which is 12215. Clearance delivery, Comanche 8391 Papa would like to activate our IFR flight plan.
8391 Papa, so lose approach to verify you're at Cloquet. You're ready to go and what runway?
A-firm, we are at Cloquet. We'll be departing runway 18. We'll need about 2 minutes to get positioned for runway 18 though, 8391 Papa.
8391 Papa, you're clear to the Anoka Airport. The direct line maintain 6,000, departure 6545, walk 454.
Cut out on the frequency and the squawk code. Can you repeat those last two?
8391 Papa, departure frequency 12545, walk 454.
Okay, cleared Anoka, direct climb 6,000 after departure, 125.45, and then the squawk code was choppy as well on the frequency for 91 Papa.
91 Papa, read back correct, walk 4543, 4543. You're released for departure. Void is not off. 5.
4543 on the squawk, and it cut out on the clearance void time, 91 Papa.
91 Papa, you're released for departure. Clearance void is not off. 5. 5.
Unreal, I still can't hear it. Release for departure. Still couldn't pick up the void time. I can call on my cell phone if needed. 8391 Papa.
91 Papa, roger, you're released.
Release, 8391 Papa, thanks. Unreal. My first ever flight plan. I can't get enough reception to even talk to clearance delivery, apparently. So anyway, but we got clear. We're
37 turn, right heading is 0, 0 vector. So
that's good. So we can switch over here. We'll monitor clearance delivery, but 12545 is our next frequency, and then we got our squawk code 4543 plugged in. We're cleared as filed to Anoka, and we just flew, so I'm not going to do a full run-up. I just got done with my check ride, but we'll just check a couple things, make sure it's all looking good. But that's classic. First IFR flight plan, and call up clearance delivery on the ground and can't really hear them. I kind of thought that might happen, honestly. Just being on the ground, I mean, we're close enough that that's an option, but it was a little bit, I was thinking that might happen. So I probably should have just called on my cell phone since this is a non-towered airport, but anyway. Alright, we got magneto drop, gauges are all green. Cloquet area traffic, Comanche A391 Papa, departing runway 18, departing the area to the southwest. Cloquet.
South.
There we go. Positive rate. Gears coming up. Trimming her down. So we got a right turn. Turn on our autopilot.
Here 37, thanks for the help. Contact tower 18.3.
No problem at all. Over to tower 037 switcher.
Okay, now we'll go over to approach. I should be able to hear them now that we're airborne. Or departure. Duluth departure, Comanche 8391 Papa 2300, climbing 6000.
Comanche 8391 Papa, Duluth approach, Duluth altimeter 2986, ident.
2986, ident, 8391 Papa.
Comanche 901 Papa, radar contact 2 miles south of the Cloquet Airport, and climb maintain 6000.
Climb maintain 6000, 8391 Papa. Alright, bring our power back to our climb power. Right about there. Fuel pump's coming off, landing lights are coming off, fuel pressure looks good. Still climbing real nice. We'll switch to an auxiliary tank here momentarily. Start leaning out our mixture, getting set for cruise. And then we'll debrief the instrument check ride. Alright, we're coming up on 4,300, climbing to 6,000. So, I did it, I passed my instrument check ride. That was extraordinarily stressful. It was very hard. I mean, I would say it actually wasn't that hard. I was ready, I knew everything, but the anxiety and the nerves going into it were very real. I would say compared to my private pilot check ride, it was definitely harder. And the studying and preparing for it was also a lot more daunting, a lot more thorough. I'm extremely happy and relieved to have that done and behind me, and I'm really excited to be filing IFR flight plans and, you know, climbing through the clouds and all that good stuff. Very, very happy with how everything went overall. My examiner was great. Throughout the check ride, I had maybe a couple things that didn't go, you know, perfect necessarily. On the VLR approach, it was a little bit too far to the east, of course. We had like a 40-knot quartering headwind, so it was really windy. So that was a factor for sure. But other than that, everything went really smooth. Like I said, the oral went really good. I had a little brain fart on one of the Airmet Zulu. I just literally couldn't remember what it was called. But other than that, everything was good. And then after the check ride, we did a little bit of a debrief, which was extremely helpful. And the main thing that we talked about, which was great and just really helpful information, was on a circling approach. Basically maintaining the MDA all the way until you are able to conduct a stabilized landing on the runway that you are circling to.
Duluth altimeter 29.
So circling to, we did an approach to runway 18, circling to runway 25. And I did it correctly, but we debriefed it also, and he just wanted to make sure I understood the requirements. But 91-175, the requirement to be in a position where you can do a stabilized descent to landing, so you have to have the visual minimums, stabilized descent to landing, all those elements, but basically doing the circling approach at the minimum descent altitude, which in this case was 1860, the whole way around before descending, and I did it correct. But he brought it up because he said it's something he sees all the time that people don't, maybe they accidentally do it right, but they don't necessarily realize how to do it. And I thought that was a really good point, because a lot of people, they get the runway in sight, and then they start descending. It's like, oh, runway's in sight, I'm in descent, good to go. But with the circling approach, maintaining the MDA the whole way around, makes total sense.
Information, Victor request, Bulldog, North, full stop 27.
Other than that, I'll basically just walk through what happened in the flight portion of the check ride. I'm not going to debrief the oral portion. I think there's enough good videos out there on that.
01 radar contact.
The flight portion I'll debrief.
0 miles south of the Hibbing Airport.
And we did this at Comanche, which is just southwest of Duluth, Minnesota. And the DPU is based out of Comanche, so we did it up there, flew up to here. But we took off at Comanche. He gave me an IFR clearance, craft clearance, so I pretended to call up clearance delivery, essentially. He gave me my clearance, I repeated it back, all that good stuff. I briefed the takeoff, I briefed our first approach, which was going into Duluth Airport using the VOR on runway 12.
The first stock, 616.
So I got all that briefed, I got my GPSs set, got my radios set with
Kilo maintain VOR, cleared RNAV, runway 4.
With Duluth approach, and I plugged in the navigational radio frequency for the VOR. Got as much done as I could, got my flight plan loaded into my GPS, into my 375, all that good stuff. And then we took off. I almost forgot to call the CTAC advisory frequency at the airport. So that would have been bad, but we were kind of taxiing towards the whole short line, and I was like, oh, I gotta call the CTAC. So that was fine, but it was just nerves, you know. It's kind of weird calling him or simulating that versus actually getting the clearance kind of threw me off. But anyway, that was all figured out. And then we flew up basically west, northwest.
At below 5,000.
He gave me some radar vectors and kind of tested my knowledge on speaking to ATC, all that stuff. And then we did unusual attitudes. Recovered from a couple different unusual attitudes, and then after that we called up Duluth approach and actually talked to them and got clearance for the VOR on runway 21 is what it was. Runway 21. And that was a DME arc approach. So we got clearance direct to the initial approach fix, which was the start of the arc. And then I was instructed to call ATC once I was established on the arc, and I almost forgot to do that. I got established on the arc and then realized after flowing like a mile or something that I had reported to ATC, so I caught that was all good. Again, it was just nerves. But, so we flew the DME arc, went pretty smooth. Again, we had about a 35 to 40 knot quartering tailwind for the majority of that arc, so that was difficult. He did make me hand fly the arc also, and I've always normally used my autopilot for DME arcs. So, and flying it was something I hadn't done a lot, and it was definitely harder, especially with the wind.
901 Papa, contact Minneapolis Center 121.05, and appears traffic 1 o'clock, 4 miles. They just dropped off the radar, but last indicated altitude was 1,600.
We'll be looking for that traffic over to 121.05, 901 Papa. I got him on ADS B. Minneapolis Center, Comanche 8391 Papa, level 6000.
8391 Papa, Minneapolis Center, welcome. Sensing altimeter 2984.
2984. Okay, so yeah, I hand flew the arc, and then got it established on final. Basically just, I did a pretty good descent, but I went down to the minimum descent for each waypoint and then leveled off maybe like 20 to 40 feet above that so that I didn't go below those minimums. And then once I crossed each point using DME to determine when I was at each point, in addition to my GPS, continue downward, obviously all the way to the runway. And then he had me, basically the rule he said is if your foggles are on, assume you're in the clouds. And if I tell you take off your foggles, it means you're out of the clouds. So that made it really easy for me to know if I was going mist or not. It wasn't a question of like, hey, I'm at minimum, should I take off my foggles? It was just, he was going to tell me.
4230.
So that was good.
After Lucy published, and contact me up the coach on 6.35.
But we went mist. So we went to runway threshold, executed a mist approach, and then we did, we were going to do the published mist, and we actually ended up not doing that because there was some traffic in the area, so he basically called an audible on that and said, let's just go straight and do the ILS on 27. So did the mist, switched over from tower back to Duluth approach, and then immediately requested the ILS 27, which was like right there. So I frantically pulled up my plate, approach plate for that. I pulled my power way back for the majority of this check ride and just flew slow, which was super hard to do because
890 Lima.
I love nothing more than flying this plane as fast as possible. And the engine, Lycoming 0540 engine wants to be
Golf, 35 miles
flowing hard.
Airport, 5,000.
There's so flying slow is just not in my blood. But for this instrument check ride, I absolutely needed all the time in the world that I could get, because even flying slow, it was still non-stop because we were doing 2 approaches at Duluth and then 1 approach at Cloquet, which is literally right there. Anyway, so we positioned for the ILS 27. We got vectors to final for that approach. So I
84366
loaded up the localizer, frequency for that, got established on the loc, moved the VOR to the secondary, and then briefed the missed approach, which was involving the VOR. In that case, made sure it was ready for that in case it was needed. And then when we started the arc, I identified the VOR, and then when we got within range of the localizer, I identified the localizer. So that was good. I was really afraid I was going to forget that step because of just, again, nerves. It's all muscle memory, but in a check ride setting, there's a lot going through your mind. You know, you're just kind of stressed. But that was good. Did that approach, and we went missed on that one as well. And then went direct to the initial approach fix on the RNAV back to the Cloquet Airport. And it was like, I don't know, 7 miles away from the missed approach. Once we started our climb up the missed approach, it was like right there. So again, it was like bang, bang, bang. We were hammering through these approaches really, really fast, which was stressful, but it went well. And then yeah, last approach was an RNAV, runway 18, and he did a partial panel. So he basically took this 275 and this 275 and he turned it like this so that I didn't have any navigational resources available. And then I did a partial panel approach solely using my primary 275 display. And then that was a circling approach to runway 25 from runway 18. So we got clearance Switched over to cloquet traffic, and yeah, went in for the landing. Landing was a little bit rough. I think at that point, my brain was just fried, and so much had happened so quick. I just got to get the plane on the ground, and it was definitely not a buttery landing, but it wasn't horrendous, but it was a pretty rough landing. But we were safe, everything worked out. And that was pretty much it for the whole check ride. I started the oral at 7 a.m. and I think we touched down in Cloquet just before 11. So it was a 4-hour long process. I think the oral was about 2 hours, the flight was about 2 hours. I think keeping all the approaches we did literally within the vicinity of like 15 miles. I mean, it made it go a lot faster, but it was also a lot, I think it was a lot harder. So we didn't have any time.
2982,
I didn't have any time to really think about things too much. And if I could have done anything differently, I would say I would have taken the time on the ground to brief all the approach plates, maybe even twice before getting in the air, because again, you know, you're doing a missed approach procedure, trying to pull up the next approach plate because you're already getting clearance to go direct to that initial approach fix on that next approach. You're trying to fly the plane, and so I think having all those briefed, trying to have a lot of the waypoints, initial approach fixes in particular, memorized in advance would have been good, because I had briefed them all, but not in detail. Until we were in the air, and I've flown all these approaches I think one time in practice before, but so probably would have done that differently. But other than that, it was went really well. We landed, pulled in, said congratulations, you passed. Went back in the office, did some paperwork, and that was it. So pretty great. Really good feeling to get that done. And now we're flying into a monster 30-knot headwind back home. And I'm actually flying to Anoka because I'm dropping my plane off at the mechanics shop, the A&P shop, and they're installing a Tannis engine preheating system. I'm changing both of my main tires. My right main in particular, pretty worn down, kind of down to the bottom of the tire, so it needs to get changed. So I'm just going to change both, and then my left main I'm going to keep as a spare, just in case if that's ever needed, because that one still has some life in it. Get my oil changed, and then I have an airworthiness directive that's due in like 10 hours for an exhaust inspection. It's really easy to do, pretty quick and easy. So they're going to do that. They're going to knock that out as well.
Minneapolis Scanner 647 climbing through 42.
That's that.
3 minutes. Minneapolis Center, welcome.
That'll be today and tomorrow. I'm sorry, we're going to start it tomorrow, get that done on Friday, hopefully. And then I'm taking my plane from there, just down the runway a little bit to the Avionics shop. And they're installing another Garmin 275. I believe it's going to go right here. And that's going to be my engine monitoring system. So it's the Garmin EIS. And that's going to replace all this very old school engine monitoring gauges with something nice and accurate and electronic that'll work a lot better, be a lot easier to use. Plus, it'll be nice to have it over here, so I'm not looking over here, which is kind of a pain in the butt. So that'll be over the next probably 2 weeks, give or take, maybe 2.5 weeks. The plane will be down in the shop, getting everything done.
Like 25, contact 126.1.
And then we'll be able to do whatever, fly as an instrument pilot. So anyway, I got a couple trips coming up, end of July, that it'll be nice to have an instrument rating for, just make things easier. Going to Milwaukee, going to Chicago, so it'll make it a lot easier. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a breather, but I think I'm going to start my commercial rating pretty soon and just get that done with. I already have 250 total flight hours, which is the total flight hour requirement for that. So I have a lot of the commercial requirements for flight time, cross-country time, PIC time, all that. A lot of that I have knocked out already. So that'll make it easier, but probably start that relatively soon. And then my instructor, my CFII, I mean, hopefully he gets a job, an airlines job or something like that really soon. But if that's the case, he'll be moving on to bigger and better things. So I might use him initially, but he's got job applications in everywhere. So there's a good chance that he will no longer be instructing relatively soon. I got a few people I can use for
601 Heavy,
commercial.
50. I think 601 Heavy, man.
That's pretty much it. But if anybody is studying for their instrument checkride and doing all that, you have questions, just let me know. You can email me, leave it in the comments, whatever. And I will share as much helpful information as I can going through that process.
Anoka County Blaine Airport, information India, weather at 1645 Zulu, wind 180 at 13, visibility 10, sky clear, below 12,000, temperature 26, dew point 16, altimeter 2982, runway 18 in use. Expect visual approach, runway 18. Crane 1.1 nautical miles, north-northwest of Anoka County Blaine Airport, 195 feet, AGL. Attention.
Okay, we got information India, winds are right down the runway, 180. Clouds are at 12,000, and they said expect the visual on 18, so we'll expect the visual on 18. Minneapolis approach, Comanche 8391 Papa, level 6,000, and we have information India at Anoka.
8391 Papa, Minneapolis approach, visual approach runway 18 at Anoka.
We'll expect the visual 18 at Anoka, 91 Papa.
Over 6563 Kilo.
And we got Anoka tower plugged in, ready to go.
Okay, you want to do the...
Let's do a V-calc.
Over 6563 Kilo, roger. Once you get it set up, proceed direct the mode and intercept the localizer for 10 right.
We have to begin our descent in 5 minutes and 30 seconds if we want to be able to do a 500
foot visual approach on 10
per minute descent. So we'll probably get descent instructions here momentarily from ATC.
November 901 Papa, descent of pilot's discretion, maintain 3,000.
Descent of pilot's discretion, maintain 3,000, 901 Papa. So we will start our descent. Just a slow one. Right now we have to descend at 491 feet per minute.
November 4 Romeo Delta, advise information Yankee at St. Paul.
To target altitude of 2,000 feet. So pull out some manifold pressure. Begin our descent. Descent checklist. Manifold pressure set 17 inches. We will enrich the mixture as we descend. Fuel is on an auxiliary tank, so we'll switch that over actually to our right main.
November 4 Romeo Delta, roger. And I'll blow for you on the other side of the Minneapolis final.
Fuel pressure is good.
CFR traffic down.
Miles
maneuvering at 1,900 indicated type 7.
We probably will use, but not at this point. We'll get closer to the airport. And then we got the ATIS, we got the altimeter, and we don't need to activate runway lights because it's a towered airport and it's daytime.
391 Papa, advise Anoka in sight, 12 o'clock and 15 miles.
Full advise when the field's in sight, 991 Papa. 8391 Papa has Anoka in sight.
Number 191 Papa, cleared to visual approach, runway 18, contact tower 132.4.
Cleared visual 18, contact tower 8391 Papa, have a great day.
You too.
Anoka Tower, Comanche 8391 Papa on the visual for 18, about 10 to the north.
Clear 3901 Papa, Anoka Tower, now 18 for the line.
Clear to land 18, 8391 Papa. Alright, we're going to position over here for a straight-in landing. Fuel pump's going on, mixture's going full rich. We gotta lose about 1,300 feet still. 9.4 miles to go. We'll put a little bit of carburetor heat in because there is some humidity today. Carburetor heat. Got a little bit of carb heat in. Gas. Run the right main, undercarriage to go. Mixture, prop, switches. Alright, landing gear's going down. We're going to have a little bit of a wind from our left. Alright, 2 mile final. Cleared to land. 1 knot to flaps, going in. Carb heat, gas, undercarriage, mixture, prop, switches. We are fully configured for landing. Ground effect. That was actually not a bad landing for how bad my landings have been lately.
Conventional aircraft, no clarity, information, Juliet, altimeter 2984. Comanche 901 Papa, left to right at Alpha 2, contact ground, point 85.
Right at Alpha 2, over to ground, 901 Papa. We made it. Our first instrument flight. Our first official IFR flight on our own. After passing my check ride. So, thanks for watching. Again, if you have questions on anything instrument check ride related, let me know. Otherwise, my plane's going to be down for like 2.5 to 3 weeks. And then I'll have some cool new instruments, and we'll get back up in the air. Other than that, we will hopefully see you soon. Later.